Hello, Foundations of Christian Thought, and welcome to week 4 of the course. We are already approaching the halfway point of the course, and so time is flying right on by. Here is the schedule that we have for this week. As you are now accustomed to, I like to overview and tie everything together that you understand the learning objectives that week, what you're learning, and helping you understand how it's building on prior weeks and where you'll be going into future weeks. So as we start out, please remember to watch all of the lectures. This one is the foundational one that you can springboard off of, but there are these supplemental lectures that I give. They're going to focus on the person of Christ, and also the work of Christ is going to be the main theme that we'll be focused on this week. The reading in Morgan, chapter 6, the title being Jesus, and then also Jesus' saving work. So Dr. Morgan is going to walk us through who Jesus was, and that really is going to be so central, because now it makes sense that in the middle of this course, the focus really becomes upon Christ. Everything of the Christian faith hinges upon Christ. Where Judaism and Islam have foundations that would be similar to that of Christianity, pulling from the Old Testament, the thing that everything hinges on in our faith is who Christ is. And so we have to understand this central part of who Jesus is and what he truly accomplished on the cross. From Smith, you'll be reading chapter 4. The pages are listed there. And then also from Mathis, chapter 7, chapter 8, and chapter 9. We'll briefly overview here the third discussion board that you'll have, and then I'll spend the last part of today's mini lecture talking about the rough draft that is due for the critical assignment here. So your learning objectives are listed right here for you. Again, we continue to build off of these core doctrines of what God created, who God created. But all of this, again, hinges around who is Christ in the midst of this. God created a world with individuals. Sin came into that world. There was a problem. This problem needed to be fixed. The only solution was Christ, and we have to understand why that is so from a biblical perspective. So we are, again, going to be blessed with hearing from Dr. R.C. Sproul. He had a complete series on the person of Christ, and we're going to watch 2 of his lectures on the person of Christ and on the work of Christ. And I just continually emphasize how helpful and I guess how Dr. Sproul has just played a huge part in my development, reading through a lot of his materials. He's a wonderful teacher and was a wonderful man of God, and does a great job teaching through these 2 foundational sections of theology on the person and work of Christ. So for your discussion board this week, again, it is based off of You Are What You Love, the You Are What You Love text, and we're going to answer these 2 questions. So in the text, Smith argues, quote, "So many of our worship services are little more than Jesusified versions of secular liturgies." That's a pretty powerful statement, and we want to look here at what does he mean by that statement, and do you agree with it? So make sure you address both of these parts. What is he saying with that? Okay, put that in your own words. And then also, do you agree with what he is saying? Okay. So describe in your own words the basic narrative arc of historical Christian worship. So after answering this first part, where have we come from and where are we going when it comes to historic Christian worship? So how has Christian worship normally throughout the previous centuries, how has worship progressed? Okay. And are we going in the right direction in this progression of this historical worship? Okay. So describe in your own words the narrative arc. So where did it come from? Was it a lot more intentional? Was it longer? Was it broader? Describe the narrative arc of the Christian worship. And Smith goes into more detail on exactly what he sees. And so a lot of this is you coming back saying, do you agree with what Smith is trying to articulate with it? And so do you think that churches should adopt this pattern of worship? Why or why not? So the pattern of worship that Smith is articulating on page 79. Should churches move closer to that, or should churches move more away from that? And again, the key part here is why or why not, okay? Make sure that you give at least 2 responses. Sometimes people are not responding enough to their classmates. You need at least 2, a minimum of 2. Remember, that's a minimum. And a minimum of 200 words. Again, a minimum of 200 words. So it's always encouraged to go a little bit above and beyond, and make sure you're giving good, robust replies, facilitating good critical thinking on those. Okay, so for your critical assignment, Dr. Gill is going to give you an overview about what this assignment will look like, and he'll give you some explanation on it. So definitely watch this as you start familiarizing yourself with the final assignment. This is going to be the big assignment that's due at the end of the course, so make sure you're very familiar with it. And a template here is provided. Use this template. Okay, this is my advice in most classes, to find templates to go off of, but specifically here for this class, you must use this template. And I don't know why you wouldn't. It makes it so much easier. Use this template and you'll input the information into this template. So a sample of a section here on, for example, the creed of the work of Christ. Here is an example for you that you can go off of what this should look like for you. And so your assignment is, you will draft 1 section, okay, of the critical assignment. The final critical assignment isn't due until week 8. So this week you're going to craft 1 section, just like you see here in the sample. And this will ensure that you can display to me that you have a good understanding of what I'm looking for all the other remaining sections. So here's the template you'll use. Here's the instructions for the entire assignment that you'll complete in week 8. You are going to be doing just 1 section of the assignment for this week. And those are your instructions and where you will submit the assignment. So we continue to see the overview of the progression of the course. You have the information there. Continue to build on the prior sections. Let me know if you have any questions. Just happy learning to you all, blessings to you all, and I will see you next week for week 5.